Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we celebrate and have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives and communities positively. In addition, we use the platform to celebrate people, news, and events. My name is Dr. Kemi Adebayo, known as Dr. Mama K. And in today's program, as we continue to celebrate Nigeria's Independence Day for the month of October 2023, this is our part 3 edition. And we will be featuring 2 amazing guests. But before I introduce them, another fact about Nigeria. So yes, we've got over 204 million people. So we're the most populous country in Africa. And we speak over 500 languages. Yes, from 250 ethnic groups. I don't even know all the languages or all the ethnic groups, so don't ask me. But the main ethnic groups, which most people will probably know, are the Hausa / Fulani, and as well the Yoruba, which I am a proudly Yoruba girl. And then we have the Igbos, and which are the 3 main ethnic groups, that make up Nigeria. But saying that, we have Urhobos, Tiv, Fulani, Kanuri, and a lot, like I said, 250. It's a lot. And we speak English as our official language, and as well we speak Pidgin English, which, if I know Sabi am well, I don't feel help you, but Pidgin English, we speak plenty for West Africa, and I know if it speak well, because if some people speak you go they like now English they speak or no. Anyway, let's get back to the program. Our 2 featured guests are 2 people that I have a lot of respect for because they work in the education field, and Nigeria is very particular about education, even though at the moment we don't have really good system, and I hope it can be improved. I am an educator in Nigeria as well, and I believe it starts from me and others as well. So these 2 are doing amazing things around the world, in Africa, in Nigeria, through what they do. And this was a conversation, we had at some point, where I was asking various questions. So my 2 featured guests for this program today is Dr. Ade Oyewo. He's an educator, consultant. He was based in Cape Town, but is now based outside Cape Town now. And the title of the conversation when we had it was Built on Tenacity. And as well, my sister, Sunnyfield's sisters, well, shout out to our Sunnyfield's Primary School, who is the founder and founding executive director for Temple School, which is based in Lagos. The title of our conversation and that full-on program was called Stay Course. That is basically you need to stay course of what you're doing. And I have so much respect for Miss Shirley Okharedia. She is doing amazing things. So much respect for her. She started humble and she's growing and has grown our school, Temple School, to such an icon, institution, educational institution in Lagos and Nigeria and Africa as a whole. So I was asking, let's start with Dr. Ade Oyewo. I was asking him about social issues that was close to his heart and what he thinks the solutions are. Enjoy. I don't know what social issues are close to your heart. So not to talk about the issue, but to come up with what kind of solutions, can we have to those issues, whether they're possible or not. So, but I want to hear, what social issues from crime, poverty, teenage pregnancy, elderly, looking after the elderly. It could be anything, that is close to you, that you're, passionate or would love to do if you even have the time. And what solutions, can you think of to that?
Well, you've said it all. There's many of those problems. Africa in itself encompasses quite a lot of social ills that not one person can solve it.
No.
But what I believe is, if we all take one problem at a time and tackle it and walk around that, Africa definitely will become a better place for every one of us. So here in South Africa, the same problem you find that is rife in our communities is similar to what you would also find in other African countries. Where I am in South Africa now, I'm thankful that I'm part of something, and that is about giving what you call holistic education to vulnerable children and youth at risk. So I'm tackling one problem in South Africa. But I would like to sort of dive back into where we come from, our origin in Nigeria. And one of the problems that really is very close to my heart, and I don't know what more we need to do or how to engage, is the issue of kidnapping. That has become something of great worry for me. You know, sometimes I try to take it away from my children, but they see it on the news, and they know, you know, we're Nigerians, what is really going on at home, that you cannot safely travel home and without being in fear of being kidnapped, and, you know, all sort of things like that. So I really speak to people in high places of authority to really help us with regards to security in Nigeria. You know, we hear about the girls that were kidnapped from schools in the northern part of Nigeria. We hear about people returning from overseas to come and say hello to family members at home, being kidnapped and, at ransom, which the family members cannot afford. People being killed, you know. So we need to speak to security in Nigeria. I think one of the things that I love and I've learned a lot in South Africa is to dialogue with people on the ground. I think we need to learn that lesson in Nigeria, to form some kind of platform or forum where people can engage. You know, the best solution to a problem comes from the community itself. That is what our leaders always fail to see. It comes from the community itself. So you cannot just come and cut the grass from on top without tackling it from the root. We need to go to our grassroots. We need to speak to people, you know, because these bandits and people kidnapping are community members themselves. They are youth that are unemployed, that are not skilled.
That's where I want to go to.
That is causing problem for us.
Yeah, that's where I want to go to, you know, with what you've just said there. I remember when this started, you know, Nigeria, I can't remember the year now, I'm not good with years. And I remember saying to my husband that, you know, from the trend we always have in Nigeria as a country, things like this becomes a norm, and it becomes whereby
acceptable,
and then it becomes a money making
venture.
I think when initially the kidnapping started, it was like a let's
draw the attention
to the country, and let's, you know, which was what it was then. But lately it's not just about the bandit, but it's happening in western part of Nigeria, and it's happening in South Africa as well. Last year
we're beginning to see that.
Children, four brothers
were being kidnapped.
So and that is sadly what happens as well, where one country, another country in Africa feels, oh, okay, because now it's a money-making thing. It's in terms of unemployment. The root cause, the real problem, you know, of it, where drivers, housemaids, and things like that, they're now conniving, you know, with people to just, you know, do this as a money-making thing. So, correct. Like you said, solutions, dialogue. I know, you know, government normally don't want to talk, especially the bandits and so on. However, you know, we especially in African countries, we have chief, we have heads, we have local community.
There we go.
Before we
traditional leaders.
Traditional leaders. We were all born into, you know, we're a village.
Cultural background.
So we are supposed to raise a child together. And it's becoming, wow, so appalling. So yes, you know, I wish and hope the powers that be, you know, dialogue, you know, is important.
Absolutely is important.
Conversations is important. Yes, you might not be able to solve, you know, the problem immediately, but you can start tapping and hearing what are the issues here. So yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and I think it calls for, urgent youth transformation as well. The lives of our youth needs to be transformed.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, you get people, referred to as Yahoo boys, and that doesn't sit well with me. Because our youth are basically idle. The skill sets are not developed. Education is not accessible to them. So we need to go back to our drawing boards and see what are the plans that we have for the youth. I was on Twitter yesterday and I watched a very remote country in the South Atlantic Ocean, very close to Angola. It's called St. Helena Island.
Okay.
They are overseas territory for the United Kingdom. And yesterday they brought the entire ministerial committee to sit heads on with high school learners. And the high school learners, which are the so-called youth of that particular country, engage with ministers on what are the plans for growth, what are the plans for youth transformation, what are the plans for future education on the island. And these are the kind of things that really shows the youth that they are hopes. There will be a light at the end of a tunnel. Whereas on our side, in African diaspora, or at large, you don't see that. The leaders are so-called leaders. They do things in their own way, and I think we need to start moving away from that. Otherwise, we're calling for a huge revolution.
Oh, me and you, we can talk, huh? And they're talking about, deep stuff, and I really thank you, for all that. I know we've gotten over time, and I think what I'm finding out is having a part 2, with our guests each time. So we want to maybe have a part 2, later on, just to, go deeper into some of what we've spoken about. So I hope you will have us back, or we will come to you wherever you might
welcome
be
at any time.
That time. And but we commend you and say kudos to you for all you're doing in the community and the schools, the education field at large. And we're hoping more as well could be done.
Absolutely.
I've been asking my guests all the time, because I want to have a database of this, and I don't know when I might come calling. So we're always looking for mentors for young people with the people we work with. Are you open to us coming back to you being a mentor?
Mentorship is part of my life. There's no way you're going to do a complete 360 youth transformation without mentorship. The power of mentorship and coaching is very, very important. So I'm very open to it. It's part of my consultancy arm. It's part of my educational services that I can render. So please knock on my door anytime.
You hear it. It's on camera. It's been recorded. So kudos, we salute you, Sir Ade, for all you're doing, and we really pray, that God will continue to give you the strength, the grace, His mercy, the good health, for you to keep impacting lives positively. And your children will be blessed, your wife will be blessed, your generation to come will be blessed.
Thank you so much.
We wish you all the very best. And we know you did sign up to be a volunteer with Bold Moves Africa 4 or 5 years ago, and we haven't been back. Now on camera.
It's time to do it.
We are going to be on your case
soon.
So in closing, this is the final bit now. I want you to speak to youth, or anyone you want to speak to out there, youth in South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Egypt, wherever, because like you said, it's the same thing, more or less, all over where we are. It's just these boundaries that we have, calling us all borders. So I want you to just say a word of encouragement to our young people, out there. Anything else you want to say that you haven't said today, please.
Well, I cannot stop saying this. Education is very important to you, to your lives. I'm speaking to the youth watching me. Education can change lives. Education can break cycle of poverty. So my first port of call for you would be to make sure that you do everything possible to excel in your education. If you need some hand, if you need some help, call up to people that can help you. That we spoke about mentorship, which is available to guide you even in your career path as well. So I really want to encourage you to grow up in life, to become someone. To achieve would require a lot of tenacity, a lot of perseverance on your side. So I heard you not to look for shortcuts. I heard you not to look for a way around everything. Walk the long walk, and I can tell you, surely you will get to the right destination. So keep it up, push and do whatever you can do just to make sure that you also impact someone's life in whatever capacity you found yourself. Thank you.
Oh, yes, my brother, Sir Ade, Dr. Ade, as I call him. I completely agree with you that kidnapping is an issue in Nigeria, that the Nigeria authority need to do more about it, especially security as a whole. And that is one thing that we're not proud, to say about in Nigeria, and which is becoming, security issue is becoming a big issue in Africa as a continent. And I hope and pray and believe necessary authorities with our citizens, we can all work together to try and address this security issue before they become, too, it's sad. It's already becoming too much, but thank you for that, Sir Ade. Okay, our next segment is the snippet of a conversation I had with Mrs. Shirley Okharedia when I was asking her about what definition of success is to her, and as a leader, what are some of the qualities a leader needs to have. And she is an amazing, extraordinary leader, servant leader in our school. Enjoy. What would you say is your definition of success? And as a leader, what are some of the qualities, personal qualities you think a leader should have?
What is my definition of success? I'd say my definition of success is when I see the products, our students. When you take a child that is struggling academically and you see that child 2, 3, 4 years down the line doing very well in school, that for me is success. Parents would send us children from places like, they would send us children from England, they will send us children from America, they will send us children from South Africa, and they would say, this child has been expelled from this school, this child is on his or her last chance. This is the third school, the fourth school abroad, and we're giving up. Please, what can you do? So receiving those children, mentoring them, teaching them, guiding them, helping them to see that they are worth more than they are showing their parents. You find that over time, we've had children, a particular child that the mother said, I think this boy is just going to be a gardener at home. And I have given up, this child has messed up everywhere. That child ended up school valedictorian. Wow. That for me is success. Just because the child came in and he too knew, I'm at the end of my role. There is nowhere else outside of here. And here he found love, he found acceptance, he found patience, perseverance, commitment to him succeeding. And he didn't waste time in grabbing that opportunity. And honestly, he went from being the one that was mentored to the one who was now mentored. That is successful.
Beautiful. And qualities in leaders? For you?
For me, what are the qualities? You have to be committed. A leader must be committed. You cannot give up when others are giving up. You have to, because life will throw challenges that will make you want to give up. So you have to be committed to that thing you say you want to do. You have to persevere. You have to persevere. And you have to love it. You have to love what you do. You cannot mentor people when you are sad about what you're doing. You cannot even be successful when you're not happy with what you're doing. So you have to love what you're doing. You have to be happy doing it. So once you have that commitment and you persevere through all the challenges, and the love for what you're doing is there in your heart, and it shows in all you do, I think a leader is going to win.
Wow. Thank you so much, my dear sister. Success, for you is, you've seen your students doing very well academically, in sport and everything else. And I commend you for how you've managed to grow a brand of really amazing and intelligent, young people who are future leaders, be it in Nigeria, in Africa, or around the world, because we see it, Nigerians holding top posts in government, in USA, in UK, in Canada. I don't want to name names because there's just many names to name. But, Google it and you'll find it out that, Nigerians are taking top place. And this is where they start, foundation of schools, like yourself. And thank you as well for your definition, of what a leader should be. Commitment indeed is essential, for a leader, and not giving up when others are giving up, although it's getting tough on leaders. As a leader, I'm saying that, and I hear that, where, you don't want to give up, you want to keep going, you want to encourage, others as well, not to give up on their dreams of what they're doing, because yes, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you to our two amazing guests, Sir Ade Oyewo and Mrs. Shirley Okharedia, both educators, and we salute you, we celebrate you for what you're doing, because being in education at the moment now probably is a thankless one, but teachers, principals, everyone in education in South Africa, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Malawi, wherever you are, we salute you, and we use this to celebrate you, as well. Okay, that's all we've got time for, but yes, I have another challenge as we continue to celebrate Nigeria. I want you to just keep learning more. So yes, this one is, what does Afrobeat mean? Do you know what Afrobeat means? Where does it come from? You would have heard maybe Calm Down, Burna Boy and all that. Research it and find out more about our music, because music is the food of love. So yes, I know sometimes some of what all these young people are saying, and I don't agree with the lyrics sometimes, but I believe, this is part of what, the genre, is about. And thank you for exporting Nigerian music all around the world. I'm in Jamaica, I'm hearing Afrobeat. I'm in US, I'm hearing Afrobeat. I'm on the radio, not on the radio, I'm listening to the radio in Kenya, and same thing, so that is a good one that has come out of Nigeria. And boys and girls, men and women, they are collaborating with other African giants, musicians, to deliver music to the world. We salute you. Till next time, this is Dr. Mamake saying, stay safe, stay blessed, love you all. God bless.